we very well could be in a matrix.
This is a computer that I have built in Minecraft. Just a simple calculator. This is a full computer.
And you can use Holly Weird to scare people into believing that if they don't comply, they're gonna get because nukes are fake.
Yeah. I was sleeping, had to wake up. Why? Every reason I can think.
What's up, YouTube? Today, we'll be looking at disturbing TikToks that'll make you question reality. So without further ado, welcome to Adam Strain Reacts. Let's get her done.
SpongeBob was created to entertain all of the kids that Jeffrey Epstein took to his island.
No.
SpongeBob's license plate, if you put the address into Google Maps, it takes you to Jeffrey Epstein's island, Little St. James. No, it's actually real.
Oh, dead ass?
Yeah, like,
oh my goodness, fam. That's
like,
fun.
it will take you to Jeffrey Epstein's island, fam.
Not SpongeBob.
And then think about it. Who lives in a manor under the sea? Are you ready, kids? That's the first thing they say.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
I can't hear you!
Aye, aye, Captain!
Oh! Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
And they show one island on the water. The Nickelodeon symbol is literally the island as well.
I didn't know about
Why would you
that
go to
one.
that island?
Stop it.
Why would you go to the island? You know that song?
Know some niggas that went to that island. Why the fuck would you go to that island?
I get high.
Went to that dancing again.
Wait, why does he have two clip-on mics? One for backup, maybe? Wait. One for backup, maybe? Wait, here's a picture of him. Look at the background pictures. Wait. I can't tell if I'm mind myself. Maybe it's just low resolution? Look at the book names. They don't have they don't have names. They don't have any names. Nothing looks right in this. Is he posing for a picture?
That's always been something that's been on my mind ever since they released all these generative AIs. How long have they been using this? Like, this is an example from a few years back. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys think that that was possibly an AI render for the two mics, for all the details, the pictures, missing book names? I don't know. Do you guys think it's possible that maybe in the past 5 to 10 years, some of the songs that we were listening to might have been generated by AI? Or some of the images we've been seeing, some of the videos we've been seeing? Because we know that deep fake has been around for maybe, I don't know, 10 years, maybe 5 at least. So do you guys think there's a certain level of possibility? Because they do say that whatever technology is released to the people, the military normally is 10, 20 years ahead. It happened that way for the internet, for Bluetooth, for all these protocols that basically they were using, and then they found, I guess, an advantage to start rolling it out to the people, like creating an information grid, like being able to monitor what people think and do. So I don't know. Do you guys think it's possible that maybe they've been using AI way before they rolled it out to us? Simple question. Let me know down below. Now let's keep on rocking.
They would stage TNT right there, big TMT demonstrations to scare the people into believing in nukes. It's funny because when you look up an atom, go to Google and look up an atom. Look up the photo of an atom. Oh, wait, there isn't a photo. So how can you split the atom if there's no photo of the atom? Well, you can make up things. You can draw pictures of mushroom clouds, and you can use Holly Weird to scare people into believing that if they don't comply, they're going to get nuked. Because nukes are fake. You didn't know that all that stuff you saw on television was all made by Holly Weird? That's what it is. All fake. And let me just show you a little picture right here. Nukes were so fake that what happened was when nukes were going off, buildings were still standing. That's what it is. See that right there? Let me just zoom right in there. Buildings were still perfectly standing, and all the trees were all perfectly still there. Japan was with napalm and mustard gas. That's what they did. There were no nukes. Nukes is just so that they can invade different countries and then bring their banking. That's what the nuke is. You know, they're always talking about those weapons of mass destruction. Remember that? 9/11, we got to invade those 7 countries and then bring our bank. That's the nuke.
If the sun
Very interesting. I've went down that rabbit hole. And if you look at just the official story of how we came along to create rockets, it was through JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, or Jack Parsons. There's a show called, I think it's Strange Angel, that shows you, a Hollywood adaptation of that story. So it's openly admitted that he was part of a, let's say, a Satanist cult type of thing. And there's a story that says when they were making the tests for these bombs, they were basically doing a ritual. I think it was called Babylon Rising. I'm not exactly sure what the name was, but I think that's what it was. And they had this metal thing that they put underneath, and they thought that with the radiation, maybe they could. The idea is to create a homunculus, which is a very old, ancient idea that comes from the Hebrew tradition of basically simulating the way God gave life to Adam, which was through earth, and then he put breath inside of him. So the idea is to sort of do the same type of thing and create I don't know if it would be a human, but to create life out of earth, and in this case, breath would be radiation, right? And also, if you look at, for an example, the classic pictures that we have of the usage of nukes is Hiroshima. Is it Hiroshima? I think so. So basically, when you look at the picture, it looks like a huge mushroom cloud. But when you inspect it a bit further, you sort of see that there are 2 different plumes of smoke that are connected together. Now, that being said, like he said in the video, when you compare somewhere that was hit by nukes and a place that was firebombed, it's pretty much the same destruction that you see. So it's very interesting when they've used this method to create fear for so many years, and it got ingrained into us. But when you really start looking at the details, it's kind of interesting. One of the ways where I'm able to tell if something makes sense or not is the repetition, because basically when humans are able to do something, they keep on doing it. So there's a few things that we've done once or twice or 3 or 4 or 5 times, let's say, in a small amount of time, and since then we haven't done it again. One good example of that is going to the moon, which, funny enough, requires the same rocket technology created by JPL, Werner von Braun, which was brought in by Operation Paperclip from the NAZIs that got brought in. So they basically took all the scientists and they put them into high positions. So there's definitely a lot to look into when it comes to that. There's also a famous clip from Joe Rogan when he was looking at the videos of the tests, basically. But when you really look at it nowadays, I mean, we have more time and more tools. You see that actually it was a little model of a house being exploded. It wasn't a real house. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions for me when it comes to that, because again, it's linked to fear. And when you believe in fear, it sort of changes your outlook on life and your decision and thought process. So imagine if most of the things they made us fear were actually non-existent. What would that mean for us, and what would that change? Simple question. Let me know down below, and let's keep on rocking.
If the sun were to disappear tomorrow, these cave spiders could go on living for thousands of years, completely in the dark. If you go right to the border of Greece and Albania, you head down this dark cave, and then you wade through chest-high water for about 50 meters, you find something really strange. This thick, spongy substance that is everywhere. It spans 100 square meters, and if you look closely, you find that it's teeming with 100,000 spiders. This is the world's largest spider web. But what's strange is that this cave is in complete darkness. There is no sun, so no photosynthesis, and no plants or any other traditional sources of food. So how can these spiders survive? Well, things get even weirder when scientists looked at the kinds of spiders. They found two species, one bigger one and one smaller one. Usually, the bigger one eats the smaller one, but here they were living in harmony. So what was going on? Well, they found the answer to both of these questions when they looked at the walls of the cave, which was covered in this white slime. When they put this slime under the microscope, they realized there were sulfur-eating bacteria there, which were feeding off the high sulfur concentrations in the rock. And cave flies would then eat that slime. And so you got millions of cave flies, which ended up creating this near infinite buffet for the spiders. So much so that the bigger spiders stopped eating the smaller ones and just focused on catching fly instead. So here's this fully self-sustained ecosystem that's not powered by the sun, but based on sulfur. So
the strange case of the cook pine trees. These trees always tilt by 855 degrees toward the equator, regardless of where on Earth they are growing. What's interesting is the farther they are from the equator, the more they lean. This strange phenomenon is studied globally, though its exact cause remains a mystery.
Let me see. This drink say point of view of a mountain goat. All right. Damn. Ain't even put the seatbelt on. Them trains moving like shit. We need to change the phrase to mountain goat power, not yo. What the fuck? Yo, what type of suspension do this nigga ankles got? Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no way.
Wow. I don't know if that's real or not. To be honest, I'm questioning it because it's just so impressive. But man, incredible. What do you guys think? Real or not? Let me know down below.
Oh, hey, did you hear about the found in Las Vegas full of and if you're wondering if this happened before, yes, it has. They found one in California, also owned by Chinese nationalists. Nice. Wouldn't it be crazy if authorities say the lab claimed to be selling test kits, but was allegedly reselling counterfeit diagnostic kits from China with no immediate... Yeah, okay. They had a fridge that was just marked. Imagine going to that for a midnight snack. Whoops. They had at least 20 potentially identified at the site, including and yeah, it was residents owned by Chinese nationalists. That's great. That's great stuff. I smell another coming. I mean,
when I was a kid, we didn't have electricity till I was 9 years old. In those days, all the grannies used wood stoves. They didn't have electric stoves. And when Grandma had cravings, she had pica and cravings. Are you pregnant? You have cravings? No, I just have cravings. She'd take a spoon, go out in the backyard and eat clay and dirt. Kids will eat dirt when they have cravings. They would use wood ashes. They would eat wood ashes, and they'd mix them in with their porridge, or they'd put them in their drinks, or they'd put them in their bread dough to stop the cravings. Wood ashes, which are minerals. Now, babies, how many of you heard of cribbing? Okay, babies would chew on the rail of the cribs when they were missing those minerals and have cravings, and so they started putting fiberglass and plastic shields on the rails to prevent cribbing.
Wow, I never heard of that. Does anybody have a grandma or something and has heard the similar thing? And it's very interesting regarding the kids. I mean, if they were cribbing due to instinct and a lack of minerals, isn't it funny that our solution is to put some chemical product on top to protect it? We're so upside down. Anyways, all that being said, try to get your mineral game on point. Because in my mind, the whole periodic table is basically minerals. So a lot of people are deficient in a lot of minerals, and I think that creates some of these habits that we see. So try to look into it. Anyways, let's keep on rocking.
Seeing this guy who created a computer on Minecraft, which further solidifies the fact that we very well could be in a matrix.
This is a computer that I have built in Minecraft. And 6 months ago, I would have never anticipated how massive of an undertaking this would have been to complete. But 6 months later, this computer is reaching the final stages of its construction. So far, I have programmed the Fibonacci sequence to run on this computer. However, I want to take this much further. This isn't just a simple calculator. This is a full computer, fully programmable with machine code and soon assembly. The data registers are 32 bits. The RAM can store 256 lines of code that is stored in the 2 kilobytes of RAM. The CPU has 16 registers, a multiplication accelerator, and a division and modulo accelerator. All of this runs on vanilla Minecraft. Mods are only used to increase the performance of my computer that is running this monstrosity.
Wow. What does that mean? Does that mean that we are in a simulation? What do you guys think about that theory? Me personally, I have a lot of a hard time. And I wish I knew more about computers so I could understand what I just heard. To be honest, I use computers every day, but I really don't know how it functions or operates. So can you guys break it down for me? Does that make sense? Does it mean anything? Are we in a simulation? What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Let's keep on rocking.
I mean to make waves, but this guy is pretty genius.
I've been asking to speak to you now for 2 years, to talk to you, to tell you that I'm also a super genius like yourself.
Oh, I got they ass now. Because something is just off here. And I'm just going to show y'all how absolutely insane this fucking canal is. Alright, so check this out, right? These ships get lifted above sea level, right? They use a 3-lock method, right? This connects 2 oceans, and we're gonna get into this, all right? These chambers, they fill with water to raise the ships up. Then they drain to lower them. Each of the locks weighs 750 tons. Think about that. Panama Canal officially opened in 1914. 1914. Look down here. U.S. took over the project in 1904. This was after, quote unquote, the French supposedly attempted to. But as the French attempted to build this Panama Canal, 20,000 of them died from yellow fever and malaria and all kinds of shit, because you're down in the jungle and you got a dry season and they got a wet season. So the conditions are horrible. As you can see here, French company attempted. Look, malaria, yellow fever, resulting in high worker mortality. I looked at these construction photos and they weren't really very convincing. The whiteout over here and the train. These guys are supposedly excavating what it is you just now saw. More excavation photos. That's basically, that runs on steam. They said they were steam powered. This is them doing construction. I mean, I guess don't really look like it, but yeah, you know, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Supposedly they were using steam powered machines and like steam shovels. This is supposedly them doing construction again. Nothing here, but this look like this train wagon here in the middle of this all. More construction photos here again. And I found this odd, because see, this like blew something open. The Panama Canal can't use seawater. Salt water can't be used to supplement water for the lockage. The canal operates with gravity-fed water high above sea level, and even if salt water could somehow get into the system, it would damage the freshwater ecosystem in the lake. So, wait a minute, you telling me not only in a 10-year span did y'all dig out a 50-something foot long, mile-long canal that is now filled with water and has technological locks that fill in basins and lift and lower ships, but you also connected that to the lake, and you did this you started in 1904? I'm sorry, I don't fucking think so. The biggest constraint to canal operations has been the availability of fresh water in the reservoir. The reservoir is here. That's Lake Juala. And basically, they use this lake, fresh water, to basically lower and raise ships here on these locks. But how did you know to connect this across and use lake water for locks? Like, I'm sorry, in 1904? That's the lake they get it from. Artificial lake in Panama created by the Mandam Lang serves as a crucial reservoir for the Panama Canal, providing water for lock operations, hydroelectric power. In 1904, y'all was just, we gonna just build this canal tied to a hydroelectric power system that is tied into the lake of the land, because we're gonna build a dam that, come on, man. When did y'all even build the dam? There it is, Mandan Dam. And then here is a Ala Juala Lake. So that is dammed up. The canal is all the way down here, okay? And I'm about to show y'all how this works and how this runs, which is just absolutely wild. There is absolutely no way. I mean, just think about everything that's going on here. You got a lake dammed up here to feed a reservoir down here, which can't use the water from the Atlantic or the Pacific. So the canal is actually designed specifically to use fresh water. Where do you think this fresh water is coming from? Yeah, I know where it's coming from. Let's take a peek. Think about this. 1904. These people are building a canal. Look at this. Look at this ship. Look at the size of these locks. These are 750 tons, these locks. 750 tons. Look at this. It's going to fill out with water. Watch. Builds up, raises it up, puts it on a whole new level. What? Raises it up, raises it up. Only using fresh water, look, from the lake. Look, and goes across the lake. It's going across the lake. It gets to the other side, lowers it. Look. What? Hey, look. Y'all did this in 1904. 750-ton locks using the water from the lake to move ships across from an... I'm pretty sure y'all see my issue here. You got a gravity-fed water lock ship moving system you're building in 1904 inside of the water with 750-ton locks. This is 50 miles long right here. You designed all of this in 1904 using the water from the lake? Look, it requires 52 million gallons of fresh water per ship. I'm pretty sure y'all probably thought it was using ocean water. Y'all ain't know it was using fresh water. Where you get fresh water from? You get it from trees. This is a tree that was cut down, and that's why water is just pumping out of here endlessly. As you can see, nothing is feeding this. It's just a body of water that's feeding the canal. And this is the main source of water for the people of Panama. This source of water right here is basically an ancient tree. This is tree water that is still being pumped out. That's where the fresh water is coming from. Fresh water, man-made, Gatun Lake, fed by Jacques River to operate its locks lifting. Gatun Lake, the primary source, an artificial freshwater lake created by damming the Jagris River. Look, fresh water, again, fed by rivers and rainforests, allowing ships to be... Rivers and rainforests, ancient tree. And just to show you what that looks like, you see how that's number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Boom, that's what the gradient looks like as you go across. See?
And done. First, there's about 40 miles of rough terrain between them. And then there's the added bonus that the Pacific Ocean has a higher sea level than the Atlantic. So how do you go about connecting two oceans that sit at different heights? Well, you see this specialized system of locks and gates? It basically functions as an elevator, where the changing water level raises and lowers vessels at will.
The gates are as tall as a 7-story building. They weigh an average of 690 tons, and they are open or closed by a hydraulic system in less than 2 minutes.
Downright elegant in its design, the canal...
They ain't build this, but when the mind's blind, the eyes...
Wow. So much wrong with that somehow. Okay, where to start? Not only was that a crazy building technique project, right? But even before starting the canal, you needed to have that lake. That lake needed a dam to be created. And then later on, he was saying it's also connected to another lake, which that lake also is artificial, that needed a dam to be created. So now we're 2 dams away, and that's without even talking about the locks, and it's gravity fed. So there's no pumping whatsoever. And I have a question as towards those hydraulic locks. Like, how is hydraulics from 1904 closing a 700-ton door in less than 2 minutes? I don't know, man. There's really something beyond our capabilities. Although I must say that one of the secrets, I think, in this whole process is that to be able to show us some construction pictures, they revealed to us that they were using steam in a high capacity. Now, whether they built it or not, a whole other question. Whether they built the dam or not, a whole other question. But I think that's what's missing, you know? I feel like the same way they tried to take away the Zeppelins and the airships because they were presenting us with different technologies like the plane and the car and the combustion, I feel like it's the same thing going on there. That basically we have a hard time to envision how we built these buildings and these town halls and all these things. But what if it's because they were using a technology that we don't even know about? Because I've seen some stuff about in the, I don't know if it was the 1800s or the end of the 1700s, but that they were using these steam operated like self-carving machines. So basically they had a machine where they would put the block and then it would just pass and carve out until they had, like, let's say a pillar. So they would set it up so it would make a pillar, so they could bring rock after rock after rock and get the same pillar getting done. But this is something that I find we don't see much about. We don't see much about the potential of steam, when in reality, like, this blows my mind, but basically steam is what we use to do most of our energy production. So there's places that they don't use hydroelectricity, that they use refineries and basically the gas or the dirty gas out of there to boil water, which is the same exact technique in a way, the result, as the nuclear power plants. So basically, a nuclear power plant is just a glorified water boiler. And through the pressure and the steam from the boiling, then they're able to canal it through turbines or whatever and get it activated. So basically, still today, we're running on steam. So steam seems to be like one of the most abundant resources, obviously, because it runs on water, but also one of the most powerful. And we're still using it today. So I find that that's a little secret. Now, coming back to the Panama Canal, I have no idea how that was done in 1904. To be honest, the size of that project and even just the idea and the application and the doors and the hydraulics and the artificial and the gravity powered. Man. So let me know what you guys think down below. Do you have any more building pictures or any more plans or any more regarding the Panama Canal or any other canal? Because there's also other canals, the Suez, even smaller canals. Sometimes when you look at the time frame and you look at the way that they built it, it's hard to believe, it's hard to understand. So let me know what you guys think down below. And thank you so much for walking with us. We've reached the end. And that's a wrap for today, familia. Whether you're tuning in with the sunrise or you're posted up after midnight, I appreciate your time, your energy, your curiosity. And don't forget, this isn't about truth or fiction. This is about perspective. If this sparked a thought, a laugh, a deeper question, then we did our job. So drop your thoughts in the comments, keep the convo alive, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you're riding a wave, because we're just getting started. Until next time, stay grounded, stay weird, stay critical. I'm Adam Strain, and this has been Adam Strain Reacts. Peace! What y'all think, but now it's time for us to link up. Really think we on the brink of making a change from living this strange.